That's cool. I'm glad I got someone to show up, and we'll get going. Kind of talked down the way through. If you want to take a look, first lesson is we'll start just by who's in fleet. If you take a look at your fleet chat and you want to know about somebody, all you have to do is double click on their name, and you'll get a character sheet of them, and you can find out pretty easily how long they've been in the game, or at least how long that character has been in the game. So if you do that, just double click on their name. And I'm looking at Darth right now. Darth's character started out in looks like June of this year, beginning of June. So you can kind of make a rough estimate as far as how much or how many skill points he might have, and what you might be up against if you see him in local somewhere in space and you're fighting against him. You got a pretty decent idea that he's 6 months old. So he's probably flying maybe some T2 guns and maybe some advanced ships, but most likely he's going to be flying T1 stuff, and maybe might know how to fly good, might not, you never know, but he's going to be a less experienced pilot for sure. And you can do that with any of the pilots. That's the only one we're going to go into now, but there are 4 other tabs in there besides the employment history. There's decoration, standings, description, notes, bio, and all that stuff. You can kind of explore that on your own.
Hello, my dear gentleman.
Hey, how you doing?
Very well, and yourself, my dear Samuel?
Not too bad, Keith. Hey, man, we're right in the middle of a fleet. It's You can listen in if you'd like, but there's just a lot of really basic instruction. I'm not sure if you jumped into the survival fleet or not.
I have jumped on just for your survival fleet, my dear man.
You're late, man. You're late.
It wasn't at 10 o'clock? I swear, it's 10:02. I swear I was on time. Or did I? Oh, you pulling my leg. You
No, man.
pulling my leg.
You look at the calendar. It's set up for 23:45 to
An Eve
start.
time.
Because I know there's people like you out there, man. You guys just show up whenever. Hey.
Jeez, Sam. Jeez, I tried to make it on time. I did, I promise. I just had to do the mowing in that first.
Yeah, I understand, man. No problems. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, let's get into who I am. I've been on the game for about 10 years, a little bit more. Joined the Elysium. Geez, I got to look at my own character sheet to figure that out. 1 second. Yeah, 116 days ago. So I joined Elysium about the same time that Darth got in the game. Before that, I was flying faction warfare with a couple other corporations. I've flown in wormhole space for a couple months. Did nullsec when I first came in, and did nullsec again after. Off and on, faction warfare has drawn me back almost all the time. I did a lot of solo, just on my own, no corporation, for a number of months, and off and on. I don't mind it, but it gets a little bit boring. So jumped in with these guys in Elysium, and found out they're pretty cool guys, fun to talk with. And what the Elysium really is about is, in short, they are located in Tantalin and Tirjev. So it's right across the border between low-sec and high-sec. And we fight for control of Tantalin, Anato, Sudrento, Aranako, and beyond if we can. We're pretty new at it, only a few months, and I should say a number of months, but it takes time to build up and get going. So it's a fun group to fly with. Faction warfare is a good time. So where we're at right now is we're sitting in Tirjev. I think you all are here. And if you take a look on your screen, you'll see the station services. You'll see the Elysium. You can view outside, undock, and that's there. There are also 4 tabs there. You can show guests, agents, offices, and hangars. This is another good way to take a look at who's docked and who's not docked. So if you take a look at the guest tab, you'll see that there are 5 of us sitting in this station right now. And you can do this with any station that you're docked up at. It's just another good way to get a handle on who is around you and who is near you. Everybody got that?
Roger, Roger.
Oh, one of you's got it. All right. Next thing I want to talk about the Neocom, and I guess I should have started out with this is a real basic starting fleet. It's really meant for guys who are very new to Eve and somewhat new to faction warfare, but definitely the beginner guys, new bros. So let's talk about the Neocom for a minute. Now that's the bar with all the icons on it. You can actually, if you right click on the icons, you can remove them. You can click on them and drag them around and uh, put them where you want in the Neocom. If you want to add if you want to add new items to the Neocom, you click on the the hamburger menu or the three bars, and find what you want. And once you find what you want, you can add it. Just drag it over to your Neocom, and it'll dock into that. It'll dock right into the Neocom bar on the side. I don't know if you guys have tried doing that or not. You can also take your Neocom, move it to the right-hand side, left-hand side. And if you grab the edge of it, just like another window anywhere else, you can resize it too. It scales; all the icons will scale with it. It doesn't double row, as far as I know. I've never been able to make it double row icons, but so it's always a single row, and the icons just scale whenever you go. But you can arrange it how you want. It's another good way. It's the Neocom's not used a lot when you're in fleet, out in space, flying around. Let's put it. I don't use it a lot. Some people might, but I don't use it a lot when I'm in space. So it really is more awareness of what's going on around you and with your own stuff. Any questions on that one? Guess not. Let's talk about some chat windows. So right now, you guys can all see the just X up in fleet. So I know you guys are listening, and you can actually see the fleet chat window.
I'm not in the fleet, but I am. I am here, Sam.
Okay, that's cool.
I do know most of this base stuff, but it's all good for a refresher because
Yeah,
I've been
yeah.
out of the game for a couple years, and some of it's very new to me. But I'm happy to be here, Sam.
Cool, cool. Glad you joined, man. So we got let's see, Mario Kaz. Okay. So yeah, it's everybody there. So the fleet window, what you can do with the fleet windows and any of the chat windows, you can grab the tab. Well, first of all, let's not do that. If you see on the bar above it, if you see a lock, then that fleet window is set. All the tabs that are in there are locked in. You can't move them around. You can't touch them. So if you want to unlock it and you want to be able to modify that chat window, you have to click the three dots and just select unlock. Once you've unlocked it, you'll be able to grab any of the tabs that are in there, drag them out, and move them on anywhere on your screen. I highly recommend that if you have local in that group of tabs or in a group of tabs, that you isolate local as a separate window all by itself. That will help a lot when you're undocked, flying around. What it really does is it helps you concentrate just on one chat window in order to find out who's in the system with you. It eliminates some of the confusion that you might have if you have your tabs stacked together, and then you end up realizing that hey, you're looking at the fleet chat window, you're not actually looking at the local window you need because you thought you had it clicked and active. So I highly recommend that you drag the local tab out if you haven't. Set your chat window separate somewhere on your screen. Takes up some screen room, but it's worth it. A couple other things on the three dots. I do it. I don't know if other people do it. Some people like to see the pictures. On the three dots, you can view a compact member list, and you can also I can't remember what it was. 1 second. Yeah, you can also turn message portraits and I think timestamp off and on in the chats. So again, it'll compact it down, takes away any of the pictures and all that stuff. It just gets you more information in a smaller space by turning on compact, eliminate the pictures and all that stuff. You can mess around with that, and hopefully that helps you. It definitely helps me in local, and that's just keeps me. It's saved me more than once. Let's put it that way. A trick that I learned a long time ago is in your once you have your local chat window isolated out, what you can do is if you select, just single click the top name and then shift select the bottom name in it, it'll highlight them all. It'll give the gray background to it. You can still see everything. But what'll happen is if somebody new jumps into system, they won't be highlighted and it'll stand out a lot. So if you do that, will notice it. Go ahead and just or select everybody who's in local, select all their names. And so there'll just be a big block of selected names. If somebody leaves like they just did, it just compresses down. They're gone, but everybody else is still highlighted. If somebody new jumps in, you'll notice that they won't be highlighted. It just gives you a little bit more signal, a little bit more awareness of what's going on in system around you.
Awesome.
Any questions on that?
No, Captain.
Cool. All right. We're almost through with the station's crap. So you guys know how to join a fleet. That's good. If you see somebody out there um, and they want a fleet invite or anything like that, if you can talk him into it, just say, "Hey, use the Fleet Finder," and do that. Some people don't know how to use the Fleet Finder. Uh, Everybody here knows how to use the Fleet Finder, I'm assuming.
Yes, good sir.
All right. And if you look in the
I'm half
local chat,
convinced it's just you, and me here. I don't hear anyone else.
I don't know.
Marlo's here.
I'm going to keep talking. Hey, Marlo, how you
He's
doing?
still
Man?
here.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. So
No,
if you guys look,
I'm away from the keyboard right now. Sorry.
oh, no worries. No worries. So yeah, if you guys look in local right now, if you had everybody, silent respect. Thanks, Cashmere. Appreciate it. If you guys look at local, if you had everybody highlighted before, you should see one new guy in there. He's not highlighted. Cyril Curl just jumped in. So what you can do is you can just control select him and re-highlight everything again. Another thing you can do is when you're in system, if you see a new guy like that jump in, you can double click on his name, check him real quick, check his employment history, see how long he's been in game, and then you kind of know what you're dealing with if you fly against him or if he's around you. Yeah, Scroat Burn just jumped in. So Scroat Burn's a new character from last year. From this year, early this year. All right. I want to talk a little bit about the faction warfare map, and then we'll talk about some comm stuff. So, if you know where the faction warfare map, I'll link it in Fleet real quick. If you click on that link in Fleet Chat, that'll get you there. What you can do then is once you have it open, or what you I think, man, this is a good one. I'm not sure how to get there. I've never done this. I stumped myself. Anyways, what I was going to suggest is to potentially drag it over into. So go ahead and click open on or click on the faction warfare map, and you're going to see 5 tabs across the top of it. It's going to be war zone control, war zone details, objective statistics, and progression. And we'll just take right now, we'll just look at the war zone control and do a little explanation. And then the rest of it, as you guys go through, the details give status of each system, more of a spreadsheet file or a spreadsheet view. Objectives kind of tells you about the different things you can do. We're not going to get into all this stuff right now tonight. And statistics will really show you where you are, where the corp is, where the militia is, as far as statistics of LP1 and victory points and system taken and all that good stuff. And then progression is kind of interesting. It's an individual thing. It's your progression through the ranks of the Glente militia.
We lose you, Sam?
I'm sorry? You guys hear me?
Yeah, you just stopped for a while.
Yeah, he did stop. I don't know. I didn't know if it was just... I don't know if I just...
Oh, I'm sorry. I probably blanked out. Talking about the faction warfare map, yeah?
Yes.
I don't know where I blanked out at. Anyways, check out all the tabs at the top. Figure them out. Let's go with that. Take a look at the war zone control tab, which will show you the map. And what this really is, it's not the entire map of New Eden. It's just the systems that are associated and fought over between the Galente and the Caldari. So the green ones are ours, the blue ones are the Caldari. The ones that do not have a zone mapped around them, those are actually systems that are not fought over for control. But if they are blue or green dots, the green are controlled by Galente, or they're Galente systems, and the blue ones are Caldari systems. This map does change daily. Well, actually, daily it does change. There are different things about the map that will change daily and even hourly. So you can take a look at the different statuses of the systems. And can everybody find Tirjev and Tantalin, Anato, Iranako, and all that good stuff?
Copy.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm pretty sure y'all can do that.
Jar Jar on comms?
Jar Jar?
Yep.
Cool. So if you click on one of the systems, for instance, if you click on Tantalin, on the right-hand side, you may have to expand it with the little arrow to the left or right, but Tantalin right now shows that it's contested by 0.9%, and that there is an advantage for the Galente system of 6%. Down below that, you'll see advantage objectives, and the advantage objectives are really things that we can do as a militia in order to gain more control in contested value or more advantage to take the system towards our control. Right now, we control the system. It's a Galente Federation system, 0.9% contested by the Caldari. Below the advantage objectives is interstellar shipcaster. In short, what that is the base of the shipcaster is in Intaki. If you are in Intaki, you can jump using the shipcaster to 3 linked systems at the most. Right now, Tama is linked and it is active. So if you are in Intaki, you can go to the shipcaster in the Intaki system and jump through it as a Galente. Any questions on the map? Explore, explore, explore. Just mess around with it when you got time. Cool.
No questions.
Cool. So, we're going to talk. Yeah, well, whoop. I think my mouse button's blowing up. You guys good? Everybody hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Roger that.
Cool. I guess I should have said if I disconnect, I'll be back in within 5 minutes. Fleet comms, and this is where I'm going to ask some of the other guys to chirp in if I miss some things, because there's really not a lot. Most importantly in comms is use them. Every single time you're in, you log in, try to get in the habit of at least listening into comms. You'll learn things. Yeah, you'll learn things that are specific to fleets. You'll just learn all kinds of different stuff about Eve, and you'll probably laugh a lot too because people are crazy. That's the most important thing, is use them. Second most important thing is the words check. If we are out in the fleet, there's something going on, maybe there's a conversation that's it might be off topic, or it's just not concerned with the fleet and may be taking place. If you hear the words check, typically that means that somebody has either someone after them, they have a target that they're after, or there is a large situation that is, or situational change that is.
I would just chime in and say that what follows check just means that there's a very important piece of information everyone needs to hear.
That's even better. Thanks, Marlo.
Yeah.
And what it really means is just shut up and listen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's don't abuse it. I've heard other people get on, and once they figure out check will stop conversation, they'll use it for anything. And usually what happens is that person gets blocked pretty quickly. Another thing that will help when we're in comms, especially if there's a number of people in there that you don't recognize their voice, they might be new to fleet or you're new to fleet, an easy way to help people understand who this is you start talking in third person. So, for instance, I might say, yeah, Samuel's undocking, going to the medium advanced 5, or Samuel's doing this, or Samuel's doing that. It feels really weird at first. And in my head, anyways, what it does is it divides me away from the character that I'm actually playing in the game. But it helps in communications, because if I say Samuel is doing this, you guys know exactly who it is without having to know my voice. And so doing that helps out a lot. Another thing that'll happen, and this will just take place more in fleets, is just like it just did, Samuel is it's Samuel. It's basically name, place, and target, or name, place, and action. So Samuel's here, he's going here, and this is what he's going to try to do. Just the 3 things: name, place, action, and it'll help a long ways. Takes a lot of practice to get used to doing that. All right, anybody got any questions?
No, good sir.
Okay,
No. I do
are-
like how you. Sorry, I do want to. I do like how you said how you were talking in third person, like Samuel is jumping versus like, I am jumping, right? That's how
Yes.
you were saying it.
Very,
That is
very
also,
helpful.
well, that is also good for cat pilots and Sino pilots, and because I live out in Nullsec right now. I am a different person. I was in here for quite a while, and I come back every now and then with Kashmir, because I know Kashmir very well. But I'm in Nullsec, and with Sino pilots and with different type of pilots, right? Like I can blops battleships, I can blops people in and whatnot, and I can Sino
Check.
people in.
This is a recorded presentation, so don't say anything that's OPSEC.
Oh no, most definitely, sure. No. I'm just saying, like, I mean, I guess it's known that I'm an FC if you ever really go in to Dracarius. I don't know. Anyways, like, it's really good to even like know that for Sino pilots and for like let's say you have a known Sino pilot, like one of you guys have a known Sino pilot, and like, oh, my Sino pilot is jumping. You name the Sino pilot out. It's really good to help that. And then like your jumpers can jump into that Sino pilot so that they know what's happening. It's really easy if you catch my drift. It's
Yep. Yeah,
so-
something that we kind of started talking about a few weeks ago, and people have been catching on gradually. It just takes time. It just takes time for people to grab it.
That's that's a nice strategy because you get to know who's like you can even like I guess it's also kind of known that we break it down kind of into like fast tackle, heavy interdictor, interdictors and stuff like that, and we kind of know who and what's happening, and like it does help. It does help. You gotta have that strategy. You make it your own, but like it does help to know what your Sino pilots are, what your alt pilots are, and everything, and then to know them jumping and what they're doing, right? Because like my alt is a Sino pilot, and I go around and I will actually call out sometimes like my alt is getting on, my I'm not gonna say my alt's name because you don't need to know. Just my alt will be jumping, and I won't say like jumping or anything like that, but maybe you guys need to versus Will because you guys are in the plexes and whatnot. However, like if I'm on somebody, I'll be like jump to such and such, or like my alt is on somebody, jump now,
Yeah.
and then they'll jump. And so it's really good to know. Yes.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, we do a lot of. I'll expand a little bit more on fleet comms. Is that the style of fighting that usually happens is I really think of it more as a bunch of solo pilots that are pretty darn good, and overall, I think the average is pretty high as far as skills and what goes on, especially the guys that have been around for a while.
But you mean to say, but we're working together in a fleet.
Yeah, and
So
we
he's-
are.
Oh yeah, right, yeah. Yes. Well, like I've done a little bit of faction warfare, although like I don't know the shipcaster and all that's all new, and all the has anything changed after that, at least Kashmir or anything? Anybody?
Well, just one step back. I think the point that Sam was trying to make was that in faction warfare, fights develop very, very quickly out of nowhere, and so the one these are kind of the takeaway you should have is that when you're on comms, suddenly excited because something just happened, you just got tackled or you just got a tackle. The most important thing is just to remember. Talk in third person so people know who is talking, and the first thing you want to tell people is who has a problem at a place. So it'd be something like Marlowe has been tackled at the small Navy 1 in Onato if we're in different systems, and that's like just the thing that takes practice to do when you're under fire, when you're excited because something exciting is happening. But that's really want to take away. You want to take away that your name has a problem at a place.
Yep. And I'll add my last thing I was trying to get to, and then we beat the heck out of this subject. It may be more than one thing happening. It may be Marlowe and Samuel and Kashmir and Jar Jar. We all got something happening, and we might be in different systems. So talking in third person helps a ton to know who's in what kind of problem, who's closest to you, and all that stuff. It just helps your awareness of what's going on around you, who's closest to you, who's farthest from you, who has the best chance of being saved. And we beat the crap out of that subject.
No, I guess good.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it also helps if you're running multiple characters. So I've got Jar Jar, Jaslyn, and Amazon. If I say, guys, I need help, you're like, well, which character are we going to?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm writing that down.
Sorry, please repeat.
It is always one, man.
He was just saying that it's talking in third person is very helpful if you're multi-boxing because people don't always know which character you're talking about when you say me.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm in trouble, and you have 4 accounts. Who's in trouble? Which one? Which one are you? 4 personalities. Pick
All
one.
right. Yep. So let's talk about. We're in fleet comms right now. Let's talk about watch lists. And what a watch list is, it's the ability to actually set up a separate window on your screen with certain people that are in your fleet. This is used more when you're in a larger fleet, when you have people who are designated for logistics or healing, and also people who are, you may have 2 or 3 different groups of people flying separately within the same fleet. So you might have Logi, and you might have the DPS guys with the big ships, and you might have guys that are flying just tackle. Um, Knowing who is where and what they're doing can help out a lot. So what you do is, if you want to create a watch list, you right click on somebody's name in the fleet chat and just add to watch list, and the window will pop up automatically for you. So one of the things that'll happen is when you're in fleet and you're out there, I got Marlowe up there right now. So if Marlowe actually gets hit by somebody, you'll see his health. You'll see that he's getting into shields, or he's getting into armor, or in the structure, and you'll even see when his ship gets blown up. But it helps you be aware of what's going on. And what it also helps you do is, our fleets are typically small. We might have 10, maybe 20 at the most. And but I've been in fleets with 200 and more. And knowing the principal guys that you need to have awareness of, the FC, maybe the guy the logistics guys, or if you're flying logistics, you might want to know particular people that might be flying some really expensive ships, and you'll put them on your watch list so you can help heal the ships up pretty quickly. And it just helps more situational awareness, and this is more along the lines of your fleet member and being aware of what's going on with your fleet members. I don't know if there's a limit as far as how many you can put in a watch list. I think the most I've had in was probably 10, but those were, and really that's only because I haven't flown.
Cut out.
Hello? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh, I think we lost you, Sam.
Hello?
Oh, there you are.
Did you miss the whole thing on the?
No, just
no.
literally just
Okay.
the last 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just haven't been in big enough fleets to have a big watch list. Usually it's about maybe 5 at the most. What you can also do is, well, maybe we'll save that till a minute. Yeah, let's save that for next. So we're in Tearjeff. Let's undock, see what's outside. Actually, before we undock, take a look at who is in local. Always a good habit. You take a look at who's in your who's on station with you. Those guys will also show up in local. And if you subtract those away from who's in local, you know who is actually outside in space, or at least not in this station, but somewhere in system. So we got, looking at the list, we have 4 neutrals, we got a blue, and the rest of us here in fleet. So dock, and just once you undock, just let the ship keep flying straight out. I better get in the ship.
Comes out in a pod.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. Oh man,
No, get in your pod. Get in your pod. Be fine.
I'm going to my Corvette. I forgot to bring a frig.
Oh, I had one for you if you wanted.
No worries. This will be good enough. Corvette's fine.
Word.
So once you
not-
undock,
Not
go
sure
ahead.
if there's a plexing component to this, but you can't get into the plex in a Corvette.
Yeah, at the very end, and we might be there.
We
if
have
that happens.
T1 destroyers in the destroyer fleet hangar.
Gotcha.
Just grab one.
That's cool. Thanks. Yeah, we're in Turjev right now, so we can't do any plexing here. So when you undock, if you guys kind of zoom out and you look back at the station, what you guys will see is we're kind of spread out. And what's happened is the angle that you have undocked at is randomly chosen. You may be a little bit high, low, left, or right of where you're flying out of. And one of the things that we're going to talk about bookmarks. One of the
We lost you again, Sam.
oh gosh, you're right.
There you are.
Talking about bookmarks.
Yep.
I'm trying to hold this mouse button down. It's killing me. I think I should have. I'm going to keep going with it, but I should have switched out my push to talk button. So if you,
why not just slap to voice activity real quick?
I'm sorry.
Why not
Oh, just
slap
voice-
to voice activated? Just
You
for
guys mind?
use of this.
No, that's all right,
Oh,
man.
No, I think that's a really good idea for you.
Okay.
Just a quick plug while we're waiting for him to do that. It is a 0.5% tax rate in this station, just so everyone's aware.
How are you doing, Cashmere?
Okay, you guys hear me now?
Yes.
We do, good
Oh,
sir.
cool. Well, that saves my finger a lot of strain. I'm going to sit here and push the button anyways, I'm sure. Yeah, so if you zoom out and you look back at the station, what you're going to see is our ships are just flying away at random angles. And so when you undock that angles, it's totally random. It doesn't matter. What you want to do is try to line your ship up as straight back to the station as you possibly can. And it takes a little practice, but what'll happen is gosh, how did I do this? I'm not going to get into the detail of explaining it. When you undock, we're going to do it the simple way first. When you undock, if you turn your prop mod on and just let it run, you get about at least 250 kilometers away from the station. If you hit Control B, it's going to bring up locations or bookmarks. And what you can do is set a undock. What the undock bookmark will do is when you undock from a station, if you warp to that undock location right away, your alignment is almost 100% taken care of. The alignment time will go way down. And if there are enemies sitting there on the undock, you have a better chance of getting away because the ship won't take so long to align to your location or to your undocking bookmark, and it'll warp out quickly. Every time I've used it, every time I've had to use it, I've never been caught. It's the times I've been caught one time, and basically I didn't have an undock location. But when I do have undock locations, I've had the last stupid thing I did was I was in Valor, which is where riot war targets are. High sec system. They're about 4 jumps away, and that's where an LP store is. So I bought a bunch of prints to build some more ships, and I wanted to get them over to Tantalin, and so I undocked. And sure enough, the guys who I lived in Valor stationed in Valor for a while. And whenever I go in there, the guys know who I am because I sit there and chat with them and give them harassment, and we harass each other. But they sit right there on the undock in Valor and wait for me to undock. And I probably had close to 700-800 million worth of prints in my Viator and in the blockade runner, and hit my undock and warped away. And of course, I got all kinds of static from them in local, and I just kind of waved at them, stuck my tongue out, and kept on going. So
So just to go back, how do you make that bookmark again?
undock from a station, turn
Yep.
on your propulsion module, your afterburner, or your micro warp drive. Once you get about 250 kilometers minimum away from the station, what you want to do is set it so that you can warp back to the station from that location. The minimum warp distance, I believe, is 250 kilometers.
It's 150.
It's 150 kilometers. Okay, good. Thank you. So set the bookmark out at least 150 kilometers out. Once you get your first one out at 150, what you do is you hit Control B, and it brings up a new window called New Location. You type in the label. I always set it up where it just says undock and whatever distance it might be. So it might be undock 300 or undock long, undock short. And once I get to that distance away from the station, you can see how far you are away from the station by looking on your overviews or by putting your mouse over top of the station, and it'll tell you your distance away from it. Currently, I'm 105 kilometers away. Once you get to the distance that you want, you just make sure your expire is set to never. So you always have that bookmark. It won't expire in 2 days or 3 hours. And once you get to the distance that you want, you just hit submit. What I typically do is I will undock and I will set 1 or 2 or 3 of them, usually 2 of them minimum, all in the same go. So I'll undock, turn my micro warp drive on. I get 300 or 400 away from the station. Put a new bookmark in, set your expire to never, and I'll have an undock 1, undock 2, undock 3, or undock short, medium, and long. The reason I'll have 2 or 3 of them is because some of these dudes are really good. What they'll do is they'll sit on that undock and they will watch you warp away, and they'll watch and see if your ship stopped within 200 or 300. And the same way that we can put our mouse over top of the station and get a distance, you can put your mouse over top of anything that you see in space and get a distance. So if I warp out to 250, they're going to know that my undock is set at 250, and they are smart enough to sit there at 250 next time I undock, or they'll have somebody sitting there. And so I won't use that one. I never use the same one twice in a row. Does that make sense?
Yep. So I have multiple undocked ones, like say three or 4 at different at different ranges.
Yep. That'll help you. It'll help you keep alive. Kind of a pain in the butt at first. I always it's one of the last things I do when I'm fighting around the system. If I dock in there, it's like I just want to get back out and do my thing, and I don't take the time sometimes to set my undock. So it's a good habit to get into, one that I'm still working on. Anything else on bookmarks? All right. Now we're going to talk about safes. Actually, I'm not going to talk about safes. Once you get bookmarks, we'll say one thing about safes. What you can also do with a bookmark is you can actually place a bookmark while you are in warp. So if you were to, for instance, from here, you open up your bookmark menu, Control B, type in whatever you want to name it, type in safe, and then if you right click or you just highlight something in space, like if we warp to the sun, it is right now it's 8 AU away. If you warp to the sun, once you get to about real quickly, actually about 6 AU away, it'll happen fast. If you hit submit during the warp, it'll actually drop a bookmark somewhere along the line of between where you're at and where you're going. So for instance, if you guys want to, you can try it. And then once you have it saved, what do you do with the bookmarks once you got them, right? If you right click in space anywhere, you can go to locations and you will see your personal locations listed in space. The purpose of a safe is to be able to go somewhere randomly in space that will force them to have to scan you down. They'll have to get core scanner or probe combat scanners out and scan your ship down in order to find you. They won't be able to just warp to you if you're at the station, or if you're at the sun, or if you're at a plex, or if you're at some anomaly in space. They'll have to actually scan you down. It's not a perfectly safe location because they can scan you down, but it will give you some breathing room. Does that all make sense, guys?
Mhm.
We're getting more complicated as we go.
As we all know, Eve is a complicated.
What's that?
As we all know, Eve is a complicated game.
Yeah, it's a mess. Took me a long time to figure a lot of this stuff out. All right, let's talk about overviews. Is there anybody in fleet right now that's flying with the overviews default from the game at the start?
Warp drive active.
You guys have all changed your overviews out and fixed them up, right?
Affirmative.
Okay. All right, that's good. We don't have to get into it too much as far as fixing them. If you ever want to fix them, just a heads up, you can share your overviews. You can ask somebody to share their overview with you. They can actually put a link into a chat window, and you can click on that link and set your overviews to whatever they shared. Yeah, Casimir just did it. That's a good overview to use. There's different parts to it. Crap, I've only did part one.
Oh, you want all of them? Actually, in the tab icons, they're awesome.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to do that. Yeah, halfway here. I learned something tonight. Good.
See,
good.
that's why we're in this fleet. We all learn
Yeah,
something.
buddy. Yeah, buddy.
And it's also in the email when you get accepted from the corp.
Well, it is now, but it wasn't when I joined. That's all right. One of the things you can do is we talked earlier about did we talk about character tabs? I think we did. No, we talked about fleet chat. In your character tab, you have that's your picture. If you click on it, there is a bio or biography tab within your character tab. And what you can do is you can drag any of these links into your biography, and it'll stay there. It's kind of like it's a notepad that everybody can look at pretty much, but some people use it as a good storage space. All right. So overviews. Let's take a look at overviews. I don't know how many people have the same overviews, but we're going to talk about the things that you can see and what they actually mean. We are going to. What are we going to do? Now let's just talk about it here, and then we'll jump into LOSEC. So the overviews right now, you should have something like a general tab, which is going to show stations, stargates. It'll show some beacons. It'll show the citadels. It shows right now Lucinda's on there. If you have different tabs for your, there'll be PVE, which is going to show any of the NPCs out there that are flying around near you. It'll also show friendlies, possibly. Depends on how you have it set up. You'll have a PvP, which is going to be all your enemies. In this case, it'll be war targets. Could be NPCs. But pretty much you're looking for war targets. Anybody that's unfriendly to our corporation, what's going to happen. That is we're definitely not going to dig into the overviews, but that's another hour talk. There's a lot of information on YouTube about how to set them up, modify them. If you just do a good search, and make sure you pick something that's fairly new, a couple months old at the most. The overview had a big revision last year. I want to say in the fall of last year, so it's about a year that these overviews have been updated, and they're a lot better than they were. Let's put it that way. While we're out here talking about overviews, let's talk about probe scanner and directional scanner. And we're going to talk about the probe scanner first, get that out of the way pretty quick. And probe scanner. So the probe scanner, what that is, it's going to show you all the anomalies in the system with you. You'll see some anomalies. Well, let's see who has a probe scanner up and who doesn't. The way you find your probe scanner is down around your capacitor. Let me just shut this off and start over. I'll talk you through it as I do it. So down around your capacitor, there is a button, looks kind of like a radar screen in a submarine, which is pretty apt for Eve. And if you highlight over it, it says scanners. You click on it, and the one on the where's that? One on the left that looks like a flower it's the probe scanner. If you click on that, it'll bring up for the new players. It'll bring up a big window, and there'll be a map in the background behind it, and there'll be a smaller window in front of it that it'll say probe scanner. You can actually undock that smaller window, which is what you should do. You undock the smaller window, shrink it down until just the information you want is on there, something very readable. It takes up about less than 20% of my screen, or about 20% of my screen widthwise. And I shrink it down to the top third or less and put it in a corner. But what you're looking for is cosmic signatures, you're looking for bases, observation posts, a variety of names that are up there. Some of them are green, which means that you can warp to them, and some of them are red, which means you have to scan them down in order to warp to them. There's also a filter on that, and you can skip that for right now. I don't want to talk about with the probe scanner. We'll talk about the filters with the directional scanner. Let me scratch that out. I don't want to talk about that. Not relevant at this point. So the other scanner that's important is the directional scanner. And again, you go down to your scanner button, and this time it's on the right-hand side. It looks like a cone with a dot at the bottom of it. Highlight over it, says directional scanner. You click on directional scanner, and again, it's going to pop up a window that will have the directional scan information in front of it with a map in the back. And you want to undock that directional scan window from there, drag it separate off the map, close the map down, and then locate your directional scanner wherever you'd like. One of the cool things you can do, and this we kind of covered it with the chat windows, as long as your window is unlocked. Oops, I just trashed my stuff here. Hold on a second. Yeah. So as long as your window is unlocked, you can dock your directional scanner and your probe scanners inside of the same frame. That's what I do. Some people like them all separate. So your directional scanner, if you look at it right now, depending on what filters you have, you could have anything from ships to stations to anything that's in the system. You could have it up there. Right now, I'm looking at a bunch of ships. They're all NPCs, Scout Republics and fleets and all that good stuff. This is where we want to start using the filters. On the right-hand corner of your directional scanner window is a filter. And if you click on it, drag it down, you're going to see a number of different filters in there. What you want to do is you want to keep pushing my middle button. What you want to do is you want to click on your filter button, find the PvP, or you want to find the same filter name as what your PvP overview is, and you want to use that filter inside of your directional scanner. What that's going to do is your directional scanner at that time will only show you enemies. Some people like to have a bunch of stuff up there. Me, I just want enemies. That's all I want. If there's a friendly in system, he will show up on the directional scanner with my overview settings, But most importantly is my enemies will show up. I'll know the ship name and I will know the ship type. Anybody have any questions on that? That was really quick for something that's pretty deep. What I will recommend you guys do is practice it. Goof around with it, mess it up, break it, and then try to fix it again. If you can't fix it, you can always reload your overview settings.
And generally, if you're not in a PvP mode, the somewhat default is general clean, no Rex collidables. Or it could just be general all. If you are experimenting around, you've clicked a few things, you get a little bit confused. What have I clicked? If you go back to general clean, no Rex collidables, that's more or less the default.
Yep. Yeah, I got mine back to the PvP stuff. So what I'm seeing right now is, even though it's PvP, I still have friendlies on here. I got a Myrmidon, a Catalyst, a Comet, and 2 Catalyst Navy issues, actually. In future fleets, we'll be digging into the stuff a little bit more. And I don't know that we'll set a fleet up just to talk about D-Scan, but if you are in fleets with other people, just random fleets out PvPing or plexing or mining or whatever it is, if you have questions, ask. Everybody can learn something for sure. Typically what I found out is when you're in comms, there'll be one guy who really doesn't care about, if he thinks he sounds dumb, he's not afraid of asking a stupid question. And mainly because he's figured out that there really aren't any stupid questions. If you ask a question in fleet or you ask a question in chat, I bet it's 9 times out of 10 or more, there are other people thinking of the same question but are afraid to ask it. And they'll be grateful that you asked it. So ask the questions.
As Jordan Peterson says, if there are stupid questions, you only have to ask them once.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, I've heard that. Yep. Any questions on probe scanning or directional scans? This is real basic, guys, because there's a lot more to do. One thing I was, go ahead.
Did you mention V-click?
I didn't. Not right now. Yeah. Let's talk about that for a minute. Yeah, because you know what, I left out scanning, didn't I? Let's continue on with this D-scan window. Let me make some notes here. Thanks. I appreciate you interrupting that. Yeah, we got to talk about distance, and we talked about filters, but we didn't talk about distance and angles, did we? We're going to talk about we're going to talk about the angle, but only for one setting, and then we'll talk about distances. So in the directional scanner window, at the bottom of it, there are 2 settings. One is an AU setting, or if you click it, it goes to kilometers. I usually just set mine on AU. And then there's a bar right underneath it, a slide bar. And if you move it left and right, it'll actually change the distance. What that really is doing is your ship has a scanner in it that scans the area around itself. If you set your distance to the minimum, it's going to be 0.1 AU or almost 15 million kilometers. And then if you hit the scan button, what happens is your ship takes a scan, and anything within, we'll get to the next part because what I'm going to say right now is halfway right. Anything within the minimum, which is 0.1 AU, any ship or any object that might be filtered is going to show up in your scan results. So if you hit scan button, you get results. Many times, if you hit that scan button, you can hit it a second apart, every 2 seconds. The results are going to be different because people are always moving around. You're moving around, and nothing ever remains static. The second setting on there is the angle. It's to the right of the distance, and the angle can go anywhere from 360 down to 5 degrees. we'll talk about the extremes. 360 is the ship is looking forward. Wherever you view, that's where your ship is scanning. That's 0. And so it's looking forward, and then it's looking 360 degrees all the way around you, to the left, to the right, up and down. It's scanning an entire sphere that at this time is 0.1 AU in radius. So it has to be within 0.1 of either side of you. So it's really a 0.2 bubble at 360 degrees that's working in. If you decrease your angle down to 5 degrees, wherever your view is, not the front of the ship, wherever you're looking. So if you were to, let's see if I can make this work for you guys. Yeah, I hope the hot buttons are working for you guys. If you were to, in space, actually you're in space right now, and on your overview, choose an overview that has some structures in it. It might have stargates, the sun, anything like that, or the star, I should say. Choose anything in the overview that has those in your settings, and then shift, or excuse me, I think it's control. Hold on, I got to test it out. I don't do this too often.
Did you mean Alt?
Yeah, everybody has different hot buttons. What you want to be able to do is, if you are able to, now let me start over. So my scan button, when I would take a scan of something, I don't go up and click on scan. What I do is I have a hot button, and I use V, which is, I believe, the default. I've never changed it. Yep, directional scan is V. If you just mouse over the scan button in your directional scanner, it'll tell you what the hot button is for that button, for that scanning. And if you hit that hot button, it'll take a scan at the angle that you're set and at the distance that you're set. If your angle is less than 360 degrees, it will scan at 0 wherever you're looking, and then away from there 5 degrees, or away from there 180 degrees, or away from where you're looking 90 degrees, whatever angle it happens to be set at. This is a really difficult concept just to talk verbally through. There's some really, I'm going to find some links. I've seen, there are some links within the new player instruction stuff that shows how the scan works. I'll find those links, and I'll be able to link them in next time. Anyways, good way to use it is, I think it's Shift V. Yeah. If I hit, I hope it works for you guys. If I hit V and then I click on one of the objects inside my overview, my view automatically rotates around to where I'm looking. And the second thing that happens, or at the same time, what happens is my scanner takes a scan in that direction. Does that make sense?
Yep.
It's a really good thing to practice with. I have not used it a lot. I should use it a lot more. I'm not very good at it. I know some people. I think Marlo's pretty good at it. I've heard him find people pretty quick. I've heard some people, I don't remember their names, but just lightning quick finding people in a system. I have no idea how they do it so fast, but they're really fast at it. It's just a matter of practice, a matter of getting used to what's around you, and being able to figure things out.
V-click and deduction. That's really it.
Oh, cool. There you go. Yep. So, hey, there you go. Thanks, Casimir. Put a link in Fleet. That's a good one too. Excellent. All right. Let's talk our way out of that one. D-scan, probe scanner, overviews, bookmarks. Last thing, everybody, let's and for new players, especially those new to faction warfare, don't worry about jumping into low sec. Just do it. If you get blown up, get another ship, and just be aware of what happened on the other side. Was it a gate camp? Did you ask somebody if they're in system to take a look? Ships are bullets. Don't be afraid of jumping in the nullsec. Don't be afraid of jumping in the wormholes. The name of the game is to generate enough ISK in game in order to buy the ships so that you can lose them. That's pretty much it. But have a heck of a lot of fun doing it, and it's just the cycle. I'll say that's for me. I don't mind if I can reach a level, if I've reached a level of ISK and in my wallet. I don't care if I get any more, as long as I have enough ships to be able to fly for the next month, make enough ISK so that in a month I can buy more ships to make enough ISK to lose to make enough ISK. It's just a cycle. It's a gameplay, lifestyle, hobby cycle that I'm in. Everybody has their own thing, and you just do it. Do what you like to do. I'm giving you guys some real basic stuff. It'll help you anywhere in New Eden. It'll help you in high sec, low sec, null sec, wormholes, wherever you're at. It's going to just these little tweaks will help you figure things out quicker, and you might be able to survive a little bit longer. Maybe 5 minutes instead of 2 minutes from undocking. So, hey, we got Jads and we gotta get that guy. Okay, sorry for the pause, guys. Everybody, let's jump into Tantalin. And Casimir, I'm going to talk. Everybody here knows what's going on, but I'm going to talk like there's a bunch of new guys.
You are still in the Velator.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to jump into Tantalin and I'm going to dock and get into a frigate. So everybody go ahead and jump into Tantalin and actually dock up in the Republic Services Station.
Jumping Tantalin?
Yep, jumping Tantalin.
Warp drive active.
Marla, I flew nullsec enough. Man, I cringe. I can feel my blood pressure going up whenever somebody says fleet take warp.
Oh yeah.
Just I can't take it, man. It's like, no, man, that's my ship. You're not flying my ship.
It's got its use even in small gangs, but no, in general.
Yeah, absolutely does. Yeah, there's definitely some power. It's powerful, super powerful in big fleets, and even in the smaller fleets, it can increase what you're doing dramatically. But man, I push back on it so much. It's crazy. Just got to get over myself. Let's dock up in the Republic Security Services testing facility. So, a little bit about my game style. The Lucinda, I have some stuff in Lucinda. It is really some stuff I use in high sec for running abyssals whenever I get super bored. And I also have what is the small venture for doing a little bit of mining for the daily rewards. I'll go out and I'll mine, a hull full of, or a hangar full of Veldspar or whatever I think I might need. But it's all high sec mining. It takes me 10 minutes, and then I'm docking it back up. The majority of my stuff is here in low sec, right here in Tantalin. I've got gobs of ships. I sit them in here purposely. There's a number of reasons. Number one reason is this is a frontline system. According to CCP and the rules of faction warfare, because we are in a system that is right next to high sec, this low sec system, no matter who controls it, Caldari or Galente, will always be a frontline system. In other words, that's where most of the fighting is going to happen. The frontline systems are where most of the action is, most of the LP, all that good stuff. What it also means is that this station and any NPC stations in here we can always dock at them. Even if the Caldari are in control of this system, Galente militia can come in here and dock up. It enables me to have all my ships in here. I can undock really quick, reship. If I lose a ship, I just come back to Tantalin and grab another one and go. It's just very handy to do. It makes for a short trip to the front line if this happens to be a front line. Currently, we have Anato, which is that's not a front line right now. Yeah, it is a front line.
It is.
It is a front line. Anato's a front line in front of us. If you open up the faction warfare map, you'll see that Tantalin is a command. It's a command operations system. And if you click on Anato, it's a front line. You can also identify it with the icons that are in the system, and that'll help you see some things. Frontline systems are going to be bordered by other frontline systems. And there's a lot of fighting that goes on. That's all I'll say about that right now. So we're all docked up in Tantalin. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to jump into Plex and do a little explanation. So again, before you undock, take a look in local chat. We have about 8 of us, 8 Galente militia in local. We have 4 neutrals. You can consider the neutrals as enemies when you are in low sec. If you're in high sec, don't shoot the neutrals. Shoot the orange guys, but don't shoot the neutrals. You will be shot and taken out of. Your ship will be destroyed by Concord. They'll just come in and with overwhelming power and destroy you. So let's. We got. So we have 13 in system. Everybody can see that. I hope I didn't talk about the local. There's a number up above the list of pilots, and we have 13 right now. Again, you can highlight them so that they turn with the background. It's all grayish, and so someone new jumps in, we can see it pretty easily. And we have 5 people right now in the station, which means that everybody else is somewhere else in the system. Let's undock. Again, when you get a chance, undock from here and set up some bookmarks for undocking. I have 2 of them here. I'm going to be changing them out probably within about a week because I've had them too long. People are going to get smart. And I forgot to get myself in a frigate, so I won't be able to get into things. So give me a minute. I'm going to dock back up and get a frigate. Okay. One other housekeeping thing. I see new players do it a lot. Some people just forget. I forget once in a while. If you right-click on your ship, you can change the name or set the name. Highly recommend you do it if you undock without changing the name of the ship, or if you just fly around without changing the name of the ship. It will say, in my case, it'll say Samuel Triptee's Federation comet. What you want to do is just make it as difficult as possible for somebody to identify you. The ability for someone to simply see your name on a ship, that will make it quicker for them to know who it is. If they've looked at your character sheet and they know what your employment history is, they can tell, how old the character is, what skills you might have, and so forth. If they're not on grid with you, or in other words, if they're not in the same plex, or if they're not near you, what'll happen is all they can see is the name of your ship. They won't know anything about the pilot flying it, and it could deter them from jumping you, or it could deter them, or could actually encourage you to go jump them if you know who it is. When you undock, one of the things I didn't talk about is just make sure your ship is ready to undock. Undock with ammo in the hold, with charges for for ancillary repper, for armor repper, for shield repper.
Right.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt, Sam.
Yep.
We have two oranges in this system. I just thought I'd let everyone know.
Yep. Thank you. Yep. Good call. So we got extreme death in Gallon 2. You can figure one guy just dropped out, not in system or logged off. And if we click on, and he's gone, but I got it. Extreme death is he's been around a while. He's about 15, 16 years old. The character is. I don't know how old he is, but we'll find out. So we're all undocked. If you take a look around, pull up your probe scanner, and what you're going to see there is a bunch of Galente Scouts, Galente Smalls, see a Crimson Gauntlet, a few of those. You'll see a bunch of red cosmic signatures, a medium.
Broke up.
And warp to. Don't warp yet. At the same time, on your overview settings down below, on your overview, you will pull up the tab. We don't all have the same ones. You'll be able to see the same thing that you see up in your probe scanner. So you'll see two Galente Scouts in the probe scanner above. And if you look down below, you see two Galente Scouts, Galente Scout Navy 1 and a Galente Scout Navy 5. Those are the same ones that are up in the probe scanner. Now, if you look up in the probe scanner, you're going to see a Galente Small Navy 1. But if you look down in the overview settings, or in your overview, you don't see a Galente Small. What that means is that there is actually a complex, or a plex for short, that is in the system, but nobody has actually warped to it, or nobody has started to warp to it. If you go to your probe scanner and you right click on that Galente Small Navy 1 and you warp to it at a distance, don't do it yet, it will pop up automatically in the overview settings, or in the overview. What that really does is it tells people in the system, hey, there might be somebody in this plex. There might be a way to go in and fight somebody in this plex because it's open. If you don't see it in the overview, it hasn't been open. However, there may be some in the system like we have here. We got some smalls. We got a bunch of smalls in the probe scanner. We got a small Navy 5, Advanced 5, a small Advanced 1, and a small Navy 1. None of them have been opened, and they can all be warped to if you right-click and warp to them. When you warp to a plex, do not warp to 0. If you warp to 0, potentially, it doesn't happen every time, but potentially what can happen is you warp to 0, your ship goes right to the gate, and the acceleration gate, which gets you into the complex, and it bounces. Or there are people sitting right at 0 waiting for you. You will be much better off to warp at a distance. I warp around 70. I think I don't know what my warp distance is set to. I think it's 72 or something like that. You can set your warp distance. We'll go through that. It was not something that I wanted to do. If you were to, for instance, in your overview, if you click on the Scout Navy 1 and then up, it gives you a list of buttons for warping to, aligning with, orbiting, maybe not. You know what? We're not going to talk about that. All I'm going to say is don't warp to 0 to a plex. Once you get there, the acceleration gate can be activated from up to 100 kilometers away. So if you warp to 50, you warp to 30, warp to 70, warp to 60, just don't warp to 0. So let's warp to, let's crack one open.
If I may.
Yes, please.
While it can be explored in a lot more detail at another time, very important when you are communicating on comms, let us just say that there were 2 Galente Small Navy 1s. If you look at the column there that says ID, best to always identify it by either that in full. So if you can see Galente Small Navy 1 there, you'll see ID IAH-684. You can say it normally, you can say it in phonetics, you can say it however you like. But if there were 2, if I was on comms, I wouldn't say, if I was to say Kashmir, warping to 10, Galente Small Navy 1, the immediate response would be, which one? Whereas if I was to say Kashmir, warping 2, Small Navy 1, India Alpha Hotel, TAC 684, or ending 684, you don't have to use, you get the gist, then you would immediately know which one it happened to be.
Yep, exactly. Okay, where was I at? Oh, we're going to warp to we're going to warp to one. You guys stay here. We're going to do 2 things at once here. I'm going to warp to the Small Navy 1 IH684, and I'll tell you when I land. And then previously we talked about setting up a watch list. So what you want to do is add me to a watch list if you want, or what you can do is once I land and I tell you guys I've landed, you can right click on my name in fleet chat and select fleet and then select warp to member. And you guys will all jump right to me. The other way is to have my name in a watch list, and you can actually right click on my name in the watch list and do it also. So I've landed, warp to me. Stop, don't do it yet. I'll show you one other thing that happens in fleet. In fleet chat, sometimes it's really busy on comms. There might be 7 drunk dudes talking on comms. You just can't get a word in edgewise. This is not uncommon. It is kind of uncommon in this corporation, but pretty much people are pretty polite here. Anyways, in fleet chat, if you ever see someone do what I just did, 3 W's, that means warp to me. That's almost actually it's pretty much almost as effective as someone saying check warp to Samuel. People tend to, you always hear comms. However, people don't always see what's going on in fleet chat. But in last resort, if you are in trouble, if you need people coming to you, just 3 W's and they'll come to you if they see it. Best thing to do is check, warp to Samuel. That's all you have to say, and people will warp to you. While people are in warp, they're going to start asking questions. What's going on? Where are you at? Are you being attacked? Do you have somebody tackled? What kind of ship? Stuff like that. But the initial thing you want to get it started is get to me now. Come to me fast. Let's go. That's the initial thing that you want to get going. You want to get the action started as soon as possible. So warp to me, please.
Warp drive active.
And then for the newer players, if you have your D scanner, you hit the scan button, and you should see Republic Fleet Firetail, Cat Navy issue, 2 Fed Comets, and you should also see the names and the distances they are away from you. And there's more people coming on in. So we have you got 6 of us sitting here. That's pretty cool. Down in your overview, you should see an acceleration gate. And if you click the acceleration gate, let's jump in. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, we're good. Almost forgot. Before you jump in, if you have your directional scanner distance set to 0.1 AU, it will scan far enough and in a large enough sphere that you can see if there's anybody sitting inside of this plex. Right now, if we hit scan, we have 6 of us on the gate. In our directional scan, we have, you guys will see 5, but you have to include yourself. So everybody is accounted for. There's nobody else. If there was somebody, actually stay here. I'm going to jump in, and you guys take scans, and you will see that I will not have a distance beside my name. However, I'll still show up on the D scan if you scan me. You'll see my ship name, it's Pi, and then you'll see the type, which is Fed Navy Comet. Everybody else besides you is going to have a distance of however many kilometers it happens to be. And go ahead now. I've just landed. If you hit scan, you'll see that I'm out of the basically what it's called is being off grid, but I'm still within scan range. So come on, jump on in, activate the gate, and then we'll talk. We're just going to do Dplex tonight. We're not going to do Oplex. This should be pretty quick. I'll tell you about the effects of what's going on and some of the things that you should account for while you're sitting in the Plex. We're almost done with fleet. Yep, pretty close. About what I thought it'd be is about an hour and a half. Again, if you scan, this is in reverse now. So now if you scan, we're all sitting here in a pile, and we're all accounted for. We have at 0.1, we're all accounted for. Now when you scan, though, instead of scanning from the gate into the Plex, now you're scanning from the Plex, and what you want to know is if there's anything on the gate. So 0.1 AU, 360-degree scan, and you scan, and really cool, we have a condor sitting out on the gate. Yep. If the way we know there's a condor on the gate is because there's no distance with him. So I kind of know who that is.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I'm glad somebody made it work this way. Yeah, there you go, Darth. So the banger's on the gate in a condor, and he just warped in. And if we hit scan again, now there's 7 of us in here. We're all accounted for. Nobody's on the gate. Get in the habit of hitting that scan button, your hot button. It'll be the shiniest key on your keyboard. I wish there was a way I could set it up to just sit there and go off every 4 or 5 seconds. I hit my scan button probably, I don't know how many times a minute. I couldn't tell you, but it is the most used command in the game for me anyways. Scan, scan, scan. And that gets back to situational awareness. While I'm sitting in a Plex, I want to know if there's anybody around me, if there's anybody near me, if it might be a war target, if it isn't a war target, stuff like that. So it's all figuring out who's around you and stuff like that, and that's about survival. So what are we doing in this Plex? First of all, we are in a Galente-controlled system. Tantalin is controlled by the Galente. It has been for a number of months. I don't think it's been a year yet. And you can find that out by looking on somewhere on your screen, left or right-hand side. You're going to have a factional warfare menu, I guess I'll call it, information tab, you could say. And it calls out factional warfare system. There's another one that has, let me mouse over. I'm doing something that I didn't practice. Yep. So you can list the items in the system. This is Tantalin. We're near the asteroid belt number 3, blah, blah, blah. Bounty risk modifier 200%. And another option is to have the faction warfare icon. You click it and you expand it. It has factional warfare as the title. The Glente Federation has control of the system. It's contested at 0.8%. So Caldari have come in here and run a few plexes. It is a command operation system, and the Glente have the advantage at 6%. We're going to talk a little bit about the contested value of 0.8%. We are in a plex. We are in a small Navy 1 plex. What this does is you can see that you should be able to see a timer. It's at 5 minutes and roughly 30 seconds right now. It's counting down. Don't forget the D-scan. And as it counts down, once it gets to 0, this complex will be captured, and it'll be captured by whoever's in it. If there's a Caldari guy in here, it's going to be captured for the Caldari. If it's Galente, then it's going to be captured for the Galente. If it's a pirate, in other words, if there's somebody in here who is not in either of those militias, the counter does not move. It just stays there. Unless there is somebody, a pirate can be in here. If there's a Galente in here, it's going to count down for us. If there's a Caldari in here with a pirate, it's going to count down for them. So the idea is to get the timer to 0. It's like playing King of the Hill. We're in a small Navy 1. The Scout Navy 1s are less effective, I'll say, for system control. The mediums are more effective than the smalls. Larges are more effective yet, and the largest ones are the opens. The main difference between all those levels from Scout to the open is that the open does not have an acceleration gate on it. When you warp to an open, you go right to it. So there's no buffer. If someone warps to you in an open, they're going to land in the open. They're not going to get stopped by an acceleration gate where you can scan them and see who it is or what it might be coming in. So contestant levels. The more systems we run in this system, because it's Galente, the lower the contested value goes. So the Caldari are trying to run it from 0 to 100%, and then they can bash the iHub and take control of the system. Whereas in this system, because it's Galente, we're trying to keep it at 0%. And then if you go one more beyond, well, if you get to 0, then basically it says that the system is stable and in our control. Overall, if this is just my opinion, you guys might want to chirp in on this. If there's a system, so for instance, if Caldari came in here and had no pushback from the Galente militia, they could probably flip a system in about 3 days. They would have to run a lot of plexes to do that. And I haven't really figured out how many that is, but it's a lot of them. And when I mean 3 days, that's probably pretty close to 24/7 that they would have to run plexes in order to flip a system. So it's a lot of work to flip a system. It goes back and forth all the time. So yesterday, the system was at 2.5%. Today it's at 0.8. I've seen systems go as much as 10% overnight, and it can happen a number of different ways. What we are doing really is it's called deplexing. If we go to a Caldari controlled system, it's offensive plexing or oplexing. There's a lot of terminology that will get tossed at you as you get further and further into the game. So that is contested values and how they happen. When we capture a plex, it changes the contested value of that system. The advantage, I'll say in short, the advantage is done or is affected by running different sites or different complexes within the system. You can find those in the faction warfare explanations. There are rendezvous points. You can blow up supply depots, supply caches, observation things. There's a number of different ways to affect the advantage. The reason the advantage is there is the greater advantage a militia has within a system, the more effect they have on contested value. So if you run a Plex at this advantage at 6%, we would get so many victory points towards flipping the system or towards the contested value. If the Glenta had an advantage of 50%, however, we would get more victory points towards the contested value of the system. I just tossed a new term in there, which was victory points. Two things happen when you're running a Plex. One is when we capture it, we're all going to be awarded loyalty points. Those can be turned into ISK, which will help you buy ships. The other thing that happens is the militia gets victory points towards the contested value of the system. So the LP has really nothing to do with the contested value, whereas the victory points that you gain for running complexes is what actually affects the contested values. Hope that makes sense, because that's all I'm going to say about plexing. We'll sit here. We got 5 seconds to go. It'll come up with a nice little banner. It says we captured the system. If you look in local chat, it'll... Oh, go ahead.
No, just 18 LP.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, we'll say a little bit more about that. So if you look at local chat, however, you also get a message that this location has been secured. If you are in the Plex and you are within a certain distance of the beacon, you can see it actually if you have gosh, I don't know what you have to have up in order to see that. Yeah, you can see it. I think it's 20 kilometers. I think it's within 20 kilometers of the beacon. I wouldn't see it, not even the beacon of the actual site. I'm gonna have to clarify this more before I talk about it more. Just be close to the beacon, and you'll get rewarded with loyalty points.
If you see the ring around the outside, you need to be within the ring, but the ring is 30 kilometers in distance.
30, excellent. Excellent.
And that's obviously 360.
Yes, yeah, it's in a sphere. Yep. So stay within that distance if you want your loyalty points, and you'll also get the this location has been secured in local. If you're in the complex, you will get that notification in local. Nobody else or anybody else that's outside of the complex does not receive that notification. Only the people that are in there that actually completed it will get the notification that the location is secured. I don't actually know if there's any reason for it being there. I've tried clicking on that and everything else, but it'd be kind of cool if it's like, hey, we captured one, but it doesn't happen. That's plexing in a really short time in a really light mode. There's a number of different things in here we have not talked about, and this is really for more of the next level fleet, which is to thrive. So how do you station yourself? How do you prepare yourself while you're in a Plex for a PvP encounter? How do you prepare yourself for moving to the next Plex? What are the decisions made? What are the reasons for going to a certain Plex and stuff like that? And we'll cover a lot of that. Can't think. Anybody have any more questions on plexing? Marlo, remind me one thing I will say. We are in a Galente controlled system. We all received 18 loyalty points, which is really, really low. The reason for that is because we're in a Galente system. We're defensive plexing. We will not get as much LP for that. We are in a small complex. We're in which is the larger complexes. We may have gotten more likely we would have. And if we were to be in a Caldari control system, we would have been awarded for this small, roughly I think it's 20,000 LP divided by the number of people that are in here. So we would all receive roughly 6,000 LP. No, about 4,000 LP for us being in here. LP payouts can be pretty handsome. Faction warfare is lucrative, to say the least. You can make quite a bit of LP, which converts out to roughly be anywhere from I'm averaging around 800 to 1,000 ISK per LP. So if you get 1,000, you get 1,000 LP for a system, you may basically make 1,000,000 ISK, which is pretty darn good. 45,000 LP, it's 45 million ISK roughly. If you use 1,000 ISK per LP, it's an easier calculation. So it's not uncommon to, if you're focused on just running complexes, it's not uncommon to go out and make 100 million ISK in an hour. Actually, the large complexes in if you're oplexing in a Caldari system, a large complex will pay out a roughly 40,000 LP for 15 to 20 minutes of playing capture the King of the Hill type thing. You do that 2 or 3 times in an hour, and there's your 120,000 LP, basically 120 million, which will pay for the ships, hopefully, that you are flying around and losing. So, one final word: ships are bullets. Just remember that. The game is to be able to afford the ships by earning enough ISK in game so that you can go out and fly them, undock them, have a good time. If your game style is PvP, that's the game. If your game style is PvE, that's the game. If you like to mine, that's the game, because someone will come by and blow up your ship. Hopefully you've mined enough rocks to afford the next one. The only people that I know, the only game style I should say that I know of that people are making a lot of ISK is station trading, and some industrialists. Actually, many industrialists will make a lot. They're building ships at a large volume and are selling them on markets, providing them to corporations. There's some nullsec guys who are industrialists. Unbelievable amount of organization and transportation of materials and dedication to the game. It would, I think it rivals real life factories. It's pretty cool. So if you guys got any questions, now ask. Talked out. No questions?
Thank you, Sam.
Hey, you're welcome.
You're welcome. Where wasn't Cat Girls on the agenda? Where's the girls?
Yeah. I'm not sure if I heard what you just said right, but what I did hear was funny.
Oh yeah, you heard it right. It was Cat Girls.
Okay. All right. All right, guys. I'm going to go back to push to talk. And if you got any suggestions, please just mail them to me. Let me know what you got. And we'll try to improve it. I want to make this better next time.
Thank you very much, Samuel. That was quite well done.
So
I can't clap and do push to talk at the same time.
Yeah, thanks for doing it. I appreciate you guys showing up. I'm going to dock and log off and go hang out with the missus.
All right, see you next time.
Yeah,
Hey,
take
buddy.
it easy. Stuff up, man.
Hey, stranger.
Stranger danger. Man, you just missed a good time, dude.
Oh no, I was listening. I was just I was jamming music. I wasn't trying to interrupt you.